Welcome to the 2025 Toyota Crown Signia on this extremely snowy day. It is February 16th, and if you are in the Toronto area, you know just how much snow we've gotten over the past 48 hours. It is a little after 11 o'clock in the morning, so it's going to snow the entire review, and that's okay. So now that that's out of the way, second thing is the camera is a little over to the right than it usually is. I usually put it right beneath the center mirror, but there's not enough space between the console for the radar and the top of the infotainment system, so that's why it's over to the right and it looks a little different. Now, on to the review. 2025 Toyota Crown Signia. I think it's a wagon. Toyota says it's an SUV. My colleagues are mixed on their reviews. I think it's a wagon. I think there's nothing wrong with calling it a wagon. It's long, it's low, and it looks absolutely wonderful as far as wagons go. Not quite a shooting brake. Well, maybe. You let me know what you think in the comments. Now that that's out of the way, for real, let's get into the review and start with some numbers. There is one trim, there is one engine. It's a 2.5 four-cylinder engine throwing out 240 horsepower. Hybrid comes standard. All-wheel drive comes standard. We'll get into the one option you can get later on. And for now, let's talk about the driving impressions straight off the bat. And this has been so stable, so secure over the entire week here in February in snow in the Toronto area. And where I record my reviews is up by the airport, not a primary road, so it doesn't get primary shoveling or snow plowing. And I gotta say, the hybrid all-wheel drive combination along with the lower center of gravity here in the Signia, it is such a joy to drive. And Steph and I took the Corolla all-wheel drive hybrid to Tremblant and back at about 1,500 kilometers, and very similar to this, very stable, kind of felt like it's been on rails. There's been no slipping, no sliding for me. And, you know, I'm not intentionally trying to put the car sideways, but carefully, defensively, cautiously driving like I am around a turn now. It's just saying, all right, that's fine. Let's get you around this turn safely and securely. So very, very high marks here on the driving impressions. And I did have it for a couple of drier days without a lot of stuff on the ground, and it drives just fine, no problems at all. It comes with 21-inch low-profile tires, and road noise bleeds in a little bit. It's a little rougher than what we get on something that has thicker sidewalls, but not too bad. It's fairly quick. No, it's not fast by any means. It's only 243 horsepower. Toyota doesn't publish torque figures for any other hybrids. I'm gonna guess it's in the high twos because of that hybrid technology, but I had no problems getting up to highway speeds, no problems in doing any passing. So is it underpowered? Not at all. Quick touch on visibility. A digital rear view mirror comes standard because it's a wagon. Okay, it's not a wagon. It is a wagon, kind of a wagon. So even if your rear camera is covered in dirt and muck and mud and snow and salt and whatever it is, you just flick a switch and you get that digital rear view. Windows are a little short and the door panels are pretty high. So it's a weird proportion when you look at it, and kind of gives it more of that longer and sleeker look with the shorter windows. There is an optional 360 cam that comes as a package on the Crown Signia. I don't know if you really need it, but if you do have maybe a tighter parking spot, or you're often driving in heavily congested areas with street parking or whatnot, maybe that 360 cam would do it, but it's not too long of a vehicle. It's not too big. It's not like, let's say, a Sequoia, a Grand Highlander, or even a Highlander. Moving inside, let's start with the rear, and you got a lot of cargo space. 702 liters with the rear seats up. Put those down, it more than doubles to 1,872. No spare tire, but you do get a tire fill kit. Going back to the driving for a quick moment, let's touch on fuel consumption. So because it's a hybrid, we're getting 6.2 liters per 100 kilometers. It's a 55-liter tank, and overall you can go almost 900 kilometers per full tank of gas, and that is pretty good, Toyota. Rear seats are fairly comfortable. You get plenty of legroom, a lot more than you'd get in the Crown sedan. There is a fixed panoramic roof. Yes, it lets lots of light in, and yes, it's a black interior for the spec that Toyota gave me. But I don't know, kind of like having sunroofs that actually have motion to them as opposed to being a fixed piece. Last two things on the rear seats. One, the outboard ones are heated, and two, you get vents, which is, you'd think that'd be standard, but some manufacturers don't offer that. Moving up front, we got a pair of 12.3-inch screens, one for the infotainment, one for the instrument cluster. You can customize the instrument cluster a few different ways, and well, I don't know how many people actually will, but it's nice to have the option. Everything is clearly laid out, large fonts, and no squinting or guessing. No head-up display here. I don't know if you need it, but with this, to me, being a higher-end Toyota, I would have liked to have seen it. Infotainment system is part of the new Toyota design language, so again, very easy to operate. It's well within touching reach, so here's my hand, and I can get midway through my fingers to the edge of the screen, and no problems at all. There is a volume dial right in the middle. Thank you, Toyota. HVAC controls are all buttons. All buttons. I love it. I don't care that they're smaller buttons. I care that they are physical buttons. And if you're looking at some of the B-roll and you're like, well, that HVAC system is pushed back a bit and it's a little low, that's fine, because every time you change the intensity of the air or the air direction, the key things that you'll do, a little graphic comes up on the top right of the infotainment system showing you exactly what's happening. Bit of a miss here are the heated seats. They come in 3 stages and they're not really hot and they don't really heat up all that quickly. Cooled seats come standard as well. Same thing with the heated steering wheel. And it's a pretty comfortable cabin. Overall, pretty spacious despite it feeling a little smaller with the black color for the interior. I'd mentioned on the exterior that the windows are fairly short and that results in a pretty high belt line. Just taking a look here, here's my elbow on the sill and you can see just how much of an angle it's on. And the only other manufacturer I have an issue with that is Mazda, because their belt lines for all their vehicles are exceptionally high. You get wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, wireless charging here, an 11-speaker premium JBL audio system. So on the communications and audio side, Toyota Crown Signia checks out pretty nicely. The speakers on the A-pillar, I like them. I appreciate them. It's the aesthetic that just looks a little on the peculiar side. Kind of looks like it was an afterthought. And maybe if they made the housing a little thinner, a little sleeker, it wouldn't look so, not quite aftermarket, but maybe it was an afterthought. It's very Lexus inspired here, and the gear selector is a big contributor to that. Just a small little nub, and it frees up a lot of space for your cup holders, your wireless charger. There's not really a lot of space here for cargo or storing little bits and pieces. Like there's a small bit between the USB ports and the cup holder. Yes, you can remove that little center panel that separates them, but wish there was a little more. But what makes up for that is the double hinged center console. I've always liked that, and it's just such a clever move. The Crown Signia does come with Toyota Safety Sense 3.0. Highlights of that include your radar cruise control, your automatic high beams, lane trace assist, lane departure alert, and a few other things, so good job there. If I have a complaint about the interior, is that there's a little too much piano black here. It really gathers the fingerprints in large amounts, and it's not going to gather fingerprints where the instrument cluster is, but the center console, it has it. And thankfully it's not on the door panels, but it's got this nice gold trim and it's mostly soft touch materials, but I think the piano black takes away from what they're trying to do with this car and what the car represents. On the pricing side, your Canadian MSRP is $57,450. Again, you can get that advanced tech pack for a touch under $3,000, bringing your MSRP as tested for what we have here to $59,525, which isn't too bad because you're really getting a lot here. The fuel savings are a huge addition. The excessive cargo space, again, almost 2,000 liters with the rear seats down, a little under 1,000 with those rear seats up. You're getting great technology here, the digital rear view mirror, 2 large screens, great driving impressions, great driving dynamics as well. And on the competition side, I picked mostly station wagons just because it fits the body shape of what we have here. So we have the Volvo V90, which comes in anywhere from 70 to 76K for Canadian MSRP. We have the V60, depending on how you're doing your comparison. That goes anywhere from 60 to 70. The Subaru Outback maxes out around 50,000. CX-50 Hybrid, which isn't quite a wagon, but it still has that longish roof as far as design goes, and it's not the same as this at all, but it's pretty similar as far as what you're getting overall. And it does share Toyota's hybrid powertrain, which is why I included it as well. Max on that is around the $48,000 mark. Finally, I put the Murano in. Not that it's exactly the same, but two-row crossover, similar to what we have here, minus the shape. And max on that is around 57,000 Canadian MSRP. Some people may like the Crown brand so much they'll cross-shop it against the Crown Sedan. Now, Crown Sedan comes in two flavors, the Limited, which MSRP's at around $55,000, and that's again with the 2.5-liter engine with around 240 horsepower, or you go up to the Platinum, which gets you the 2.4 turbo engine, 340 horsepower, more bells, more whistles, more toys, and that also increases the price by around $10,000. So you're sitting around 65,000 MSRP in Canada for that. To wrap things up for the 2025 Toyota Crown Signia, I think it's a smart addition to the lineup. It's not often that Toyota misses, but they did have the Venza here twice and they took it away twice, and this is a smart replacement. Toyota has 23 different offerings in their lineup now, and it's really a case of there's something for everyone. Now, if you don't want to go into Lexus territory, but you want something premium and upscale, the Crown, whether it's the sedan or the Signia, is a wonderful way to bridge the gap here. If it was me, I would take this over the sedan. I don't mind losing the power, but I want the functionality, I want the cargo space, and I just like the way this looks a lot more than the sedan. Nothing's wrong with the sedan, but my personal preference, give me something that's long and low and sleek and just has a really nice look to it. As I hit the stop sign, I'm gonna wrap things up. I appreciate you watching. I thank you for your support. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I will get back to you as soon as I can. I invite you to join our social media platforms. We are on all of the major ones. Without you, there is no modern motoring. So thank you, I appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.